In 1965, Singapore was a small island with no natural resources, no army, no fresh water of its own, and no certainty it would survive. When it separated from Malaysia, many believed the island would fail. It had high unemployment, racial tension, poor housing, and limited industry. Even the world doubted it. But one man stood before his people with a different belief. His name was Kuan Yew. He did not promise comfort. He promised discipline. He did not promise shortcuts. He promised hard work. He did not promise popularity. He promised results. Kuan Yew understood one powerful truth. If Singapore had no natural resources, then its people must become its greatest resource. So he built the nation on three unshakable pillars. First, clean and honest government. Corruption was not tolerated. Ministers were paid competitive salaries to reduce temptation. Laws were enforced strictly not to control people, but to protect fairness. Investors began to trust Singapore. Second, education and skills. Schools were reformed. English became the working language to connect Singapore to the world. Technical institutes trained workers for industries of the future. Instead of asking, "What do we have?" Singapore asked, "What can we learn?" Third, economic openness. Singapore welcomed global companies. It built world-class ports and airports. Over time, the port of Singapore became one of the busiest in the world, and Changi Airport became a global hub. Companies from America, Europe, and Asia came because Singapore was stable, efficient, and safe. At the same time, public housing transformed the nation. Through the Housing Development Board, millions moved from slums into clean, modern apartments. Home ownership gave citizens dignity and a stake in the country's future. The results were astonishing. In one generation, Singapore transformed from a struggling port city into one of the world's leading financial and technological centers. Today, it stands as one of Asia's most developed economies, with strong education, low corruption, and high living standards. But the true greatness of Singapore is not its skyline. It is its mindset, a mindset that says, small is not weak, diversity is not division, discipline is not oppression, and survival is not enough. Excellence is the goal. When asked how Singapore succeeded, Kuan Yew once reflected that it was never about luck. It was about making the right decisions even when they were unpopular. And if he were to speak to us today, perhaps he would end with this. We were small, we were vulnerable, the odds were against us, but we chose to be stronger than our circumstances. Remember this, a nation is not great because of its size, it is great because its people decide to make it so.